Welcome, pilots. This is another VOD review and a bit of a deck tech for something I'm calling Zeon 0. This footage was from locals during the active sets of GD01 and GD02 between the new type challenge 2 and 3. There will be a deck tech or a breakdown at the end of the video. Tune in for that if you want a little bit of insight into how I built it and why. For now, here's a preview of the deck on screen. I'm not a professional, just a guy having fun, playing the game and enjoying the company of my fellow new types and ace pilots. These videos are intended for entertainment and a bit of insight into how I play the game. Big shout out to all the people I play against that are comfortable with me sharing our gameplay on YouTube. And a special shout out to my opponent, TCG, I think it's Tim or Time. Please check out their channel. They have a lot of fun content for various games. They play One Piece and Gundam, and they play a lot of different decks, and they're a competent player who is always willing to strive and improve as much as they can, and doing so helps me and others in our space and community do the same as well, and I'm really grateful for that. Another shout out to Rain Knight Gaming, who is another great creator in the community, much larger than myself, but I feel like he's been doing a really good job shouting people out and highlighting decks and basically doing his part in building up the Gundam TCG community. So if you have a chance, check out his channel, give it a look, and support the community alongside him. Links to both channels will be in the description, and without further ado, let's get on with the gameplay. Alright, so I have actually lost the die roll. I don't like my hand, and I mulligan. My opponent, however, does opt to keep their hand. So, I see two heroes, a Kshatriya, a Marita, and a Zaku 2, which is not the worst thing to open into. I shuffle up, and I get ready to play turn 1. I don't know my opponent's colors here. I don't usually scout, and my opponent is one of those players who likes to play different decks just to get used to the meta. Very good player as well, so I'll actually shout out his YouTube channel in the description. So I get a close combat, and basically nothing else to do on this turn, so I pass. The typical play, draw, go. This turn will also end up being a draw-go, but because I got two close combats and he plays a Zaku 2, I actually decide I'm going to take out the Zaku 2 and preserve my shields. Seeing the Zaku 2, I'm kind of thinking of a one-year war. He goes for the swing, I take it out, protecting my life a little bit, just trying to play to that. Now that he's got a Grazed Commander down, though, I'm kind of wondering if this is an aggressive wing, like wing blockers, or if this is wing breach. Holding up another command here, or sorry, another close combat. I'm gonna see if he's going for the break, which I just decide to pop his guy. I'm seeing if he's got a Lefrith or not at this point. Because I'm not still 100% sure on what he's playing. However, that is my best chance. I might as well preserve my shield at this point. If he plays a Lefrith, which I believe he actually does, it's good for me because he's going to need to commit a little bit more in order to break my base. And going into turn 4 with full health, technically, is in my game plan favor, given the fact that I am holding 2 wing zeros now. Kshatriya comes down, and I opt to be aggressive with Hero. So I pair him to my Zaku 2 and make it a 3-3. Out of Lefrith lock and kill range, but this way I either get his base or I get his Lefrith. He gives me the base, doesn't offer the trade, which is good for me. I'm still not sure what he's running. But I'm kind of waiting to see what he plays down at this turn, because it could be like a Shenlong or something, but it could also be just another set of blockers to stall me out till the mid game, because I don't think he knows I'm on Wing Zero, this is probably looking like the wing red-green wing breach or Zeon breach. He plays down a Rick DS and a Rick Dom and passes the turn, which is good for me. I decided to see what I can do, and I'm just going to offer the trade here. I'd rather get rid of the Rick DS. I don't really mind losing my paired Zaku at this point. It's gotten the shield, now it's gotten another card, so it's at least even. I do offer that there, and I don't swing with my Kshatriya because I don't want him blocking with the Frith and then getting a breach off of a Rick Dom. And I'm okay with that because value-wise, I have a base in hand, so I intend to play it next turn. He does take out my base, there's no breach. I have 2 guys on board. And this is where my opponent actually kind of makes a little bit of a misplay in my opinion, and I think he said so as well after the match, where swinging in with the Frith now would have been the thing he should have done instead of playing Zaku 2 and Shenlong. However, here's the point where, yeah, he just decides to swing with the Frith, which does get him punished. It hits a close combat out of my shields, and I get to take out his Zaku on his turn. I am going to be fairly aggressive on this turn. I am just trying to keep him off the impression that I have Wing Zero. So I throw out my shield. I decide I'm going to take a look at what we get. I actually get a Zaku 2, Charged Zaku 2. I take out his Rick Dom, and right now I'm just kind of controlling the board. I do have more cards in hand than my opponent, because he did manage to, you know, I did manage to trade fairly well. But I am going to hand dump now, for the most part, and again, this is partially to keep him off of the fact that I am on, Wing Zero. And I put Hero down, and I decide to take out his Frith. This also offers him a couple things here. Kshatriya, either he trades into the Kshatriya with just to get rid of it, or he takes care of one Kshatriya with and lets the breach, and then has me send in a Zaku 2, or the Police Zaku rather. And I knock my camera, which is super unfortunate. And we're gonna go from there and see what happens. But I am just checking the orientation on my phone to make sure the app, I didn't, severely mess up my options here. So I accidentally shut off my camera. I had to readjust it. He plays down the underground base, and he actually decides to take out my Kshatriya and Hero, dealing some breach damage. And he plays out 2 more units. We are hitting the 8, 7? Yeah, we're hitting the 7, energy point of the game. So I'm kind of setting up for a favorable Wing Zero play. I see if he wants to offer Lilith, which I see he doesn't, so he decides to take out my Zaku 2, which, I mean, either way, I don't think it really mattered. But I get another Zaku 2 off of that, putting a Hero and a Heavy Arms in the bottom of the deck. And from here, I just, take out his Lifrith. Don't actually have to take him out there, and I have a Zaku 2 on the board. Two Wing Zeros in hand, so I am actually trying to get these out soon. He's at 1 card in hand right now. Or 2 cards in hand. 1 or 2 cards in hand. So we're at that point in the game where we're close to basically a top deck war, and holding 2 Wing Zeros at this point has me in a pretty confident position. However, I am just trying to see what he does and how he can play into it. I'm not 100% sure if he's got his own Wing Zero. Unfortunately, he plays a Shenlong, or sorry, a Wu Fei onto his Shenlong and gets himself a pretty good trade. Or not even a trade, he takes out my shield. I don't like the Wing Gundam, seeing that. However, one other thing here, I don't know if I actually agree with him playing the Shenlong, the Wu Fei on the Shenlong. At this point, it doesn't really matter. I take out his base, and I chip away at the Shenlong, and I drop the bomb. Kill my own Zaku. Hopefully I get something off the top, which, spoiler alert, I do not. Very unfortunate as it is. I flip a Hero, a Rulula, and a Merida. Now we're just kind of in that post-combat here. He's going on to his turn, and so he takes a little bit of time here, and this actually is where I clue in, oh, okay, he's got Wing Zero. Evidently, I didn't play into it, his, and he played into mine, which kind of ends up being the difference maker here. His Wing Gundam, I was expecting, I was playing with my Merida there, hoping I'd be able to drop Wing Zero and then get to the next turn and put Merida on it as a part of the game plan, because I was kind of expecting a Hero. Or, you know, just kind of anticipating one even off the top, because a Hero, a 7/7 in this board would be pretty scary. He plays his own Wing Zero, though, and that's where I realize, oh, okay. Fortunately, I'm in a pretty good position here, and what ends up happening is my game plan is to attach Merida onto my Wing Zero. But first, I am going to end up digging with the underground base, just into my shields. I get a Wing Gundam off of that, and that helps a lot, and shifts my game plan a little bit. I'm actually going to play out the Zaku as well, because I'm going to offer him the trade with his Wing Zero, or Wing Gundam. And now putting Merida onto Wing Zero puts Wing Zero at 7/8, which means in order for him to get my Wing Zero, he has to give up his 2 guys, or he has to offer me a favorable trade where he swings into my Zaku, Police Zaku, with his Wing Gundam, eats 2 damage, unless he's got a Wu Fei, which could actually hurt me quite a bit. Or he trades his Wing Zero and his Wing Gundam to take care of my 7/8 threat. Not an easy one, and a lot of the reason I did this was to present 2 options that I was more or less in control of, and both more or less favored me to a degree, because as you may remember, I'm also holding another Wing Zero in hand. So I'm not too worried, and I'm willing to offer that type of a trade up just to see what else is going to happen, and what else he's holding in his hand. And because it's clearly not a pilot, from what I can tell, because I'm pretty sure if he had the Shenlong or the Hero Yui, he would have played that down. Especially if he could Hero Yui out onto his Wing Zero. So he's agonizing over something, and I'm actually suspecting he's got 2 units in hand, like 2 blockers. I was kind of expecting like a Graves and a Rick Diaz, which would have also been a little detrimental to me, because if he'd swung in, the winged Gundam into the Zaku, could have protected his with the Rick DS or a Graze. But he does offer the big trade, so his 2 wings for my 1 wing, which I'm okay with. And then he plays the Rick DS and the Shenlong, the level 4 Shenlong, and I'm very happy about that. I just aggressive drop my Wing Zero down, nuke his board, nuke my own Zaku, swing at his shields, pass the turn, and see where things go. I believe he's hoping for an underground desert base here. He's got 1 card in hand, and this is where he's hoping for the desert base or bust, and he doesn't get it. I decide to just hold the 2 cards in my hand, swing and swing, bring him down to 1 shield. He draws, doesn't see what he needs, and that's game. Holding 2 pilots in the end, they came a little late for him. Alright, well, that's that on that one. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that gameplay. Right now I'm going to give you a small deck tech. It's not really a super big deck tech, but I like to explain what I did here and why. So starting with it, I got the idea from the Japanese winner that had a red-green breach deck. They were running Sinanjus in it. I opted out from that because I just wanted to see something else, and also I really wanted to run Wing Zero. So what I ended up doing here was trying to build a deck that had a pretty good early game, but also allowed me to play units that wouldn't just get destroyed by my own Wing Zero, that also allowed me to control the board. So Kshatriya, Gundam Heavy Arms, and the Wing Gundam all allow me to stay on the board even after a Wing Zero, which I feel is pretty strong and pretty important. The other thing that I have in here is the Zaku Police type, and this card has been incredibly good with keeping up with 1 Year War and other like sort of aggro decks. The 2/3 is like a healthy body, kind of like a Lefrith, but I mean, it does force my opponent to swing first. It gives him a little bit more agency because I don't have the ability to do blockers, but in these colors, that's kind of all you have. The Zaku 2 is kind of there to stop like a paired Zaku, the charged Zaku 2. It's also there to kind of, trade with stuff like Rick Diaz or chip into a Lefrith favorably. Because even if they, they take the damage from the charged Zaku 2 or the Zaku 2, and they, take 1 damage with the Lefrith on the swing back, it still puts the Lefrith at, 2/3, which is pretty relevant for a lot of things. Charged Zaku 2, however, that one is there mostly just to kind of dig for other units, replace itself. It also plays well on the curve, so it's something you can put down and not feel too scared to sacrifice on a swing. And then when you do swing with it, it usually has some value in them trading up to it, even if it is a 2/2, because your early game, what you're trying to do is just not get outvalued. If you're trading 1 for 1, that's okay, but if your opponent gets you for 2 for 1s, or they get you for 2 for 3s or something like that, it's never that good for you, and you're not in the colors to really make up for that disadvantage. One of the ways I did try to make up for this advantage, and it started with an initial meme of wanting to run 8 bases that were 6 defense, and I did eventually change that. I ended up putting in the Ralulas, and I cut the base count down. I do think that it's possible you want to run 3 Ralulas and 3 Police Zakus, because they're not always that great, and you only really need to see a combination of these cards in a small degree, and so at late game, they're not really fantastic to see. However, the Ralula has been very useful. It's just part of 18 things you can burst off of your shields, which has been pretty strong. So there's a lot of burst in this deck. And close combat is just another piece of that early game control. The real nice thing about this deck is the ping isn't too out there. You still have some raw power in a lot of the bodies, like the Kshatriya becomes a 5/5 with Marita, so does Gundam Heavy Arms. However, Gundam Heavy Arms has been a real all-star in this deck. Being able to pair with Hero as a 6/6 has been just a lot of power, and a lot of the times you're getting him as a 3-for-2 when you pair it. So there's still, you're still getting that trade advantage, and I think that is pretty important when it comes to a deck like this. Playing out your bases fairly aggressively in this is also part of just replenishing your hand, and a lot of your shield turns into your resource for hand. But other than that, I mean, the raw power is there. You've got a 5/7 body that turns into an 8/9 when you pair it with Hero. You've got a 7/7 body on Wing Gundam, and even if you turn into a 6/6 with Marita, it's still a strong card to use. Not ideal, but it's an option. And that's kind of where it goes. You don't have a lot of chaff in this deck. A lot of this stuff is pretty straightforward. The Police Saku, again, is a weird card, but I think it's also pretty good for where things are in the meta, and just being able to go Zaku 2 Police Saku a lot of the times gives you a lot of staying power against 1-year war or aggro in general. But I'd say give it a try for yourself. There's definitely things you can tune here. Nothing's ever set in stone. You always build a deck the way you want and the way it works with your playstyle. This is just something I found that's working with me. I'm not even sure I'd be bringing it into a new type challenge, new type challenge 3 coming up. However, it is pretty strong. I have a blue-green brew that I am considering throwing out there to see what people think about it. And yeah, we'll go from there. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next battle.